Everybody, welcome to What Drives Us episode 382 for September 9th, 2020. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the pleasure, privilege, and honor to be your host for this evening's festivities. Let me introduce our amazing panel and get this show on the road. For the first time as co-host, I am very happy to introduce Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mordor. And I'm in North Mordor. Russell's down in South Mordor. And it's a beautiful Erodruan day where everything's lovely and full of ash. And our neighbor to the north, Mark Coughlin, hanging right in there. Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing well because there's no ash up here.
Should I ship you some? Because I think you could use some. This is real California ash, man.
Yep. Send me some in an envelope. That's all I want to see.
And then there's our lovely Casey Green.
How you
hanging
doing?
out down the bottom. How you doing? Come on, Casey, what's happening on your show?
I am just flogging the mess out of this Tesla loaner. Mostly it just sits in the parking garage, but occasionally Honda Accords try to race me and embarrass themselves despite the fact that I've got turtle mode turned on by the factory.
And then there's our man in Boulder, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, I'm great, and the snow has stopped. It was 100 degrees here 2 days ago, and this morning it snowed. So, what the F?
Welcome to Colorado.
What I like is that all that nature and all of time has declared 2020 to be a complete, utter disaster, psychotic disaster.
Fudge.
Yeah, one of my uncles shared his weather report for today. It said 94 in the morning, and it said wintry mix for tonight.
Where's this?
I think it's Jersey.
Oh, yeah,
Jersey.
They're getting what we had the last couple of days.
They must be, but on the accelerated course.
Wow.
The good thing is, on the weekend we had a lot of smoke and ash from the Colorado forest fires, and the snowstorm kind of helped tone that down. So the air was much cleaner today.
Get some of that Mount St. Helens snow.
Yeah.
Well, let me not jinx it. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
That'd be our luck. We've got some real volcanoes here.
Just what we need is a volcano. Thanks.
And on that note, let's think about something much happier.
Yes.
Russell, tell us about your trip to Boulder and your support for Paul and your new toy.
So why would any sane individual fly 1,200 miles?
On Frontier Airlines.
On Frontier Airlines. Let me just say, don't ever fly on Frontier Airlines. I get it. Like, you're poor like me. You're trying to save a buck. I get that. But trust me, you will hate it. So, but that's not the important part of the story.
They're changing their name to Shithole Airlines.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And really, it would just, like, if the flight attendant just whacked you in the head with the 2x4 as you entered the plane, it would be so much more appropriate than that. Hi. So a long time ago, in fact, I was buying a wedding ring for my first wife. I don't think I had to go there, but I had an interesting talk with a jeweler that I'd known through other means. And he told me something that kind of stuck with me for a really long time. He's like, look, you have to understand that any capitalist transaction, he didn't say that, I'm rephrasing it, is asymmetrical warfare. It's information. It's who knows more, and who understands the pricing, who knows where the competition is. And in a sense, it's very true with jewelry, because you're not going to put that loop in your eye and look at a diamond and go, oh yeah, this is a VV1, it's a color G, and you're not going to do that. You're basically going in there and buying whatever they tell you, and you're trusting them. So his thing was, the short version is, you don't buy jewelry, you buy the jeweler. And that philosophy has helped me throughout life in a lot of things. And I tend to buy things from people that I trust, companies that I trust, not so much always the best deal. The Frontier thing was my bad, so I'll own that. But needless to say, when it was time for me to get rid of the two-wheeler and buy a four-wheeler, the first person I thought of was dude down there. And I hope, I don't know where he is now in the final mix, but yeah, it was Paul. because I've known Paul for years and I trust him completely. And I know that he's good. He's good at getting things and resurrecting them and at buying older Priuses and rejuvenating them. And I knew that whatever I got from him, I could absolutely have faith in. So I flew to Boulder. And I hung out with Paul for a little while. We had lunch. I got to meet his wife, which was amazing. And I drove home, which was 17 hours of hell. But that's because I'm old and not because the car sucked. I have a 2008 Prius. It has 130,000 miles, 129,000 miles. It's amazing. It works wonderfully. It's splendid. Could I have gotten that deal here in California? No. It would have been more expensive, and I would have been buying whatever that idiot was selling to me. Maybe they took out the hybrid battery and put in a crappy one from a scrapyard. Maybe there's a catalytic converter on there. I could crawl into the car and see maybe if something was missing, but I don't know. Have you ever crawled under a used car and looked at it?
You passed the first inspection, yo.
Yeah, he has. Paul has, but I
do it every day.
Yeah, so
barely for me.
It was an incredible value for me to spend $80, $82 on a flight and spend a couple of days and go to Colorado and see my friend Paul and come away with a vehicle that I knew I could have absolute faith in. And I drove that sucker for 17 hours all the way back to California the next day, and it's fantastic. It's wonderful.
And it was your first time tunneling through the Rocky Mountains.
It was my first time driving on Highway 70, which is an amazing road. Sadly, a lot of it was dark, but yeah, I mean, wow. And you have to take the Rocky Mountains seriously because it's incredible. I mean, as far as hybrid batteries and hybrid goes, I mean, just wow.
It's hard on hybrids.
Yeah, it's hard on anything with electric. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it's hard on gas at that point too. There's probably not a lot of people getting high MPG going up those hills. But needless to say, the car got home. It's wonderful. I've been driving it around a lot and I love it. So thank you, Paul. And my message to all of you who are watching and are listening is don't settle for less. Buy from somebody that you trust. And if you're buying from an individual, take it to a mechanic that you trust who can look it over. It's a good investment and it will save you from having to post on Twitter about how some dude ripped you off because there was no muffler, no catalytic converter, and there were 4 AAA batteries instead of a hybrid battery. You know?
Well, even if you're buying from a used car dealer, take it to a mechanic. And an honest car dealer is going to say, no problem. Go do that. Someone who makes up excuses or can't accommodate that, that's a red flag. Go to the next place.
Yeah. There's lots of places to buy used vehicles. It's not like there isn't one deal that you're going to miss and go, oh, I screwed up. Definitely do your due diligence and do it smartly. And that's all I got is Paul. Do you, I should,
No, but thanks for the plug.
Of course.
Appreciate that. And I'm glad you're home and got a fancy new ride, or
it's styling.
Upgraded ride from 2 wheels.
It's funny. I was talking to my wife this morning. I was like, I miss driving a Prius so much. It's like my little mellow centered place. I don't have to compete. I just put on the radio or some music
and you've now become invisible to law enforcement.
Which, I mean, I'm a gray-haired white guy, so for the most part, that's not a big deal. Now there's this, and that gets me in trouble in some jurisdictions. But yeah, it's.
But if you were driving a Dodge Hellcat, you'd be pulled over a lot more.
Well, like I said when I reviewed the Lexus LC500, it's you're handing somebody a gold-plated 50 caliber handgun and saying, "Go ahead, use it responsibly." A Hellcat, whatever it is, whatever, a turbocharged lifted Raptor, or something is the same destructive device. And the Prius, I know I'm a prey, not I'm predator. So I have to I'm mellow. It's cool.
Did anybody roll coal on you on the way home?
No, not. I have had a few trucks do the, like I'm going to drive up, and don't get me wrong. Now, somebody else, in fact, this is another rant, and I don't want to eat up too much of the show, but there was somebody that I follow on Twitter who's a generally a nice person, but like their handle is like EVs forever or something, or I love EVs. And somebody had posted something about like all Prius drivers suck. And I was like, you know what? Eat shit. I don't care. You know? And this guy was like, yeah, Prius drivers suck. And I'm like, I don't like, so I'm not the guy that does 40 in the fast lane. Okay. That said, if I'm doing 10 over the speed limit in the right lane on the freeway and you run up my butt, don't think I won't pull out of the driver's window and bust a cap in your stupid ass. Okay. Because I just like, I feel like I'm entitled to do 10 over the speed limit in the right lane.
At least.
At least.
The most?
Well,
Yeah. So you touched on the mountains in hybrids. My first time in the mountains in my Prius was an experience, and little did I know that it could be even more of an experience. I did it again in the Honda Civic Hybrid Gen 2.
Oh,
I was in the truck lane, flashers on.
ooh.
The thing was screaming like 7,000 RPM, and I was doing 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I did it in the Volt, and it was much more fun. But I remembered the Prius, and I didn't want to. So I knew in advance to put it in mountain mode, so I was already ready for that. But I didn't want to test my luck. So, I was able to pass trucks, and it was comfortable. And coming back down, it recharged battery significantly. And then, in my first Tesla, in the Model S, I was passing people left and right. I was like, even the people who were like the fast car, you see them, they're getting out of my way because I'm passing them, and it was a blast. And then again with the Model X, it's just incredible, the difference with all these different technologies. But I mean, even my original Civic gas car, the non-hybrid, it slowed down, and you could feel it, and you could go faster if you wanted. But then it's like you're gonna burn your brakes coming down if you do this too quick. So it was just like all the hybrids going down was no problem, but going up was interesting depending on the technology under the hood. And then on all the cars with a little bit of electrification coming down, you don't really have to touch the brakes unless the Prius. I got the was it the pink battery when it's full, and
Green
on the
when it's
Civic,
full.
green when it's full. Sorry, pink when it's empty. And so it was green, and then like the graph was off the charts. The Volt of the Teslas never got anywhere near full, but you could tell when the Volt reached a temperature. It's like, yeah, I'm done, Bo.
It is definitely a challenge for any motor vehicle.
Oh, yes.
Battery, gas, hybrid, whatever. But it actually did very well. There was only a couple of times when I was doing like 40, 45. Most of the time it would just charge up the hill, empty the hybrid battery, and move on.
So, Paul, what's on special this week?
Oh, what do I got? Got a Lincoln MKZ. I think I mentioned that last time. Got a Gen 3 Prius with only 60,000 miles just came in. So
bring chicken.
Yeah.
I want that one. Oh no, wait.
That one's still under.
That one's a little more expensive. So
that one's still under manufacturer warranty, right?
A little bit maybe,
Little bit.
but it's getting there. And trying to get some Highlanders ready for snow season here with all-wheel drive.
There you go.
Those always sell well in Colorado in the winter. So
Nice, cool.
Well, there you go.
there we go. Well,
So if anyone wants to fly to Colorado on shit-ass Frontier Airlines,
maybe not
sell
on
you a
front,
car.
but one of those Highlanders would be great for winter. But let's move to a more tropical environment. Hey, how's that for a segue, Russell? We're taking a look right now at Puerto Rico, and great news for sustainability, because Puerto Rico's Energy Bureau has managed to approve a new long-term plan that invests now in a solar grid redesign, as opposed to the initial PREPA plan, which was just going to shift a little bit from oil to gas, which accomplishes absolutely nothing for sustainability and the environment. And it's a pretty cool and very important process because I don't know if you know this, but after 3 years from Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico still doesn't have stable power. And
weren't they also required by law to rebuild it as exactly the way it was before?
No,
right.
They are not. It actually has a new law that Puerto Rico needs to be committed to 100% renewable energy by 2050.
So they changed the law.
So,
that's good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they changed the law. I don't recall a law saying that they had to do it. But this was fought by earthjustice.org with various community groups like Mayagüecinos, which I have to say because I love saying Mayagüezanos for health and the environment. So people power and legal power merging like this to prevent Puerto Rico's failed government in quite a few instances from creating the exact same mess that they had the disaster with. And unfortunately, they really do need this redesign. They need this grid rebuilt because stable power is still a huge problem for Puerto Rico, which a lot of people seem to forget is a U.S. territory, and those are U.S. citizens. 3 years later, still dealing with unstable power. And that's pretty much a shame. So, Shonda for us.
I talked to their president.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't even know what to say about this.
I'm glad that they're not
throw them
redoing
paper
it as
towels.
gas. Oh.
Well, as everybody should understand, canary in the coal mine scenario.
Yeah.
If you were at all surprised by what's happened with COVID and the fires, does anybody remember that there was a hurricane in Louisiana and there's a whole town or two that needs rebuilding? Let's all just take a look at Puerto Rico, and there's going to be a new report coming out saying that the death count from Hurricane Maria was very much undercounted. And I'm just like, if we haven't rebuilt, then all the disasters of Maria is still ongoing. It still all counts towards the count. And I'm at a loss sometimes for what the heck America's doing, because to my mind, we should have said, that's not how we want to treat a territory. And I'm really grateful that the people of Puerto Rico have put their foot down and said, we're not going back to oil and gas just because you say so. We're not going to be cowards about this. We want a solar redesign. We want something that's going to preserve the natural beauty of Puerto Rico, that's going to, over the long term, enhance all of our lives and keep us healthy, because we have lots of sunlight in a beautiful environment that we want to keep beautiful. So it's good news on top of some not so great news for PR and not so great news for the rest of us in the United States of America. But hey, you know something? That's what progress can be like sometimes. Sometimes we take a big keeping cliffside step off back. And we have to kind of clamber back up because we go, oh yeah, we don't want to go back that way. We want to go that way. And hopefully this is a good sign and some developments that will improve life for them over there, because really it's over 1,000 days without stable power, and that's unconscionable.
Yes, especially in the United States.
It's the United States. Why are we like, I'm not even going to insult third world countries, because for most of them, I can point you to articles about countries in Africa that are using robots to help serve and care for COVID patients to reduce infection, and they have it corralled. We're at what, 6 million now? Almost 200,000 official dead, which, you know, based on undercounting, it's probably a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So I found an old article that explained what I was understanding there. It might not have necessarily been law, but when this law was first introduced, the original draft of it, the fossil and conservative and all the never change anything.
You mean Big Oil wrote the law?
Yeah, they all circled the wagons, and they all went around to make sure that this didn't succeed. Thankfully, they failed. They wanted it to be rebuilt exactly the way it was so they could fail again at the next hurricane.
Hey, Russell, can you enable screen sharing so I can share Case's article?
Oh, I'm so sorry. See what a crappy host I am? Dun, 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 dun. Everybody, there we go.
All right.
Still learning Zoom, and I'm almost 60.
All right. Yeah. So, what is it?
Fossil fuel.
Fossil fuel theme park.
Nice.
And that is back in September, almost to a full 2 years later. That we
next week.
finally have that
10
change.
days. Yeah.
Nice. So here we are with Puerto Rico.
Hopefully, a new administration will come in and give them the freedom and the power to do the right thing.
Yes, and hopefully we can learn from their, like, use them as a trial balloon. Like, learn the lessons learned. Like, hey, all right, we want to do these things, but this was a little too hard, and then expand that across the whole country. Our grid is like, look at California right now. Look at the last 3 years now that you guys have had grid troubles. I mean, after they recovered from Enron.
Well, yeah, the one thing PG&E has been excellent for has been charging us a lot of money and putting that money into their executive paychecks while not updating their infrastructure and basically doing this with regards to safety so that the next spark causes a big wildfire, because we still haven't jailed a few executives for the Paradise Fire, and I'm going to stick to that one because we know exactly what happened there, and that's not even including the San Francisco fire that they caused the year earlier. However, we have current fire that's now making this place pretty dark, which I'd like to thank the people who need an explosive gender reveal. You already had the important explosion. That's why they're knocked up. Please stop exploding things for a gender reveal.
So do you guys think Puerto Rico's kind of ignored by the feds because their citizens can't vote in presidential elections?
They actually can vote.
They can vote. They just have no representation.
No reps.
They do vote for president. Yes, they do have a vote. They vote in the primaries. They are full citizens. Americans don't seem to grok that part. They're full citizens, even though that island, the majority language is Spanish. And that is a hint on why they are not exactly beloved by this current administration.
I would have thought it was because they vote by mail, and we know what happens to mail at this point.
Right?
Oh, Burns from Canada.
And masks cause COVID.
That's right.
So they try to tell us.
They've been warning us. So wrapping this up, we're going to get to something that we can also rant about. Everybody's favorite thing to feel either positive or negative about Tesla. So Mark, why don't you tell us about This Week in Tesla?
Well, This Week in Tesla was all about Germany, actually. There was a visit by Elon Musk to Gigafactory Berlin that is well under construction. He talked about the changes to the Model Y that are coming, which Germany will see the first of it. And that most likely has something to do with these giant pressurized machines that will put out a die cast of the subframe and body of the Model Y. They've got these gigantic house-size compression machines that take molten metal and put them into a die cast and spit out a body frame or the back end of the car. He hasn't specifically said which pieces are going to be put together with this, but this has been talked about previously. So he did mention that Germany would be the first to receive these modifications to the Model Y, and it was going to be a huge change in the manufacturing process of cars that others could use. This is going to be something that Tesla is really inventing as they're moving along, and it'll be interesting to see how that...
I disagree. Hot Wheels invented die-cast.
Okay, on the scale of a house. But yeah, I digress. Paul,
Elon
you're
was looking
absolutely
at his
correct.
Hot Wheel collection and said,
Yeah.
die-cast. I wonder what that is.
That's exactly how it happened, though. He's like, why can't we do this?
That's right. That's what he held up in the boardroom and said, why can't we do this? So that is one of the topics he was speaking about. Also, he was there in Germany to look at a company that they've invested in that's going to be part of the solution for the COVID vaccine, the development of the vaccine, a machine that's going to help with the deployment of the new vaccine. So he was discussing that with this other company there as well. And then what we found out is that as he was leaving, he had a 2-hour meeting at the Berlin airport with none other than his main friend in Germany, Herbert Diess of Volkswagen, the CEO of Volkswagen. They had a 2-hour meeting discussing who knows what, but it did end up in a test drive of the new ID3, which Volkswagen is about to release to the public. There's video of this, there's photographs, so obviously Elon was comfortable with it. There's even an audio track to go along in the car where Elon and Herbert are discussing different attributes of the ID3 and its abilities. And Herbert laying out before Elon stepped into the throttle that, remember, this is not a sports car. This is a regular car. So Elon took the car out and asked about full self-driving and other things. People say, what is it? Was Elon trolling him or what? But Herbert came back with a great answer about German custom engineering or something along that line. And it was interesting to hear the comeback. So it sounds like both of them were like making a commercial as they were talking to each other in the car. And then after that meeting happened, Elon got on his plane, headed home, and there were follow-up photos later of Mr. Diaz and another executive from VW that were in front of a Model Y. So they got their test drive of the competition's car as well, as Elon had obviously arranged that either before or during his visit. So it looks like the bromance between VW and Tesla is alive and well. We've heard this before, that Herbert and Elon get along very well. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of this besides them complimenting each other on the airwaves. And that is the major news from Tesla. There's obviously more of it available. If you have interest, you can visit us at The Tesla Life on Twitter, and also on our YouTube channel, The Tesla Life. Feel free to subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you would have interest in the subject.
We had a poetry slam too.
Poetry
You
slam?
had a poetry slam?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, Casey's a poet and doesn't know it.
But all I know is every time you guys talk about any of Elon's outside of Tesla adventures, kind of things he wants to do to save society and the world, I just get full skeptical face. And it just stays.
It was not an ode to Elon.
It's just,
You'll have to tune into the Tesla if you want to hear that modern day poetic rollout that Casey laid on us today.
Absolutely do that, and follow them at The Tesla Life on Twitter. I have to say, I'm shocked that Elon would have been allowed this to kind of happen, and that he, like, here's Elon in a Volkswagen. You know what I mean? Like, that's weird optics.
I really think that Elon and Herbert are just get along, and obviously they both approved it. It's
right.
not like
Clearly.
It's not like Elon was spied on and videotaped, quietly.
And
there was someone in the car recording it. He knew it was going on.
They're mic'd up.
Yeah. It's definitely bros hanging out, being bros, talking car crap.
I mean, because look at them. Like when you look at those last two.
A Trump-Putin kind of bromance, or
gosh, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope
Because
not.
When I had to go there too.
When you look at their last couple of like award shows, they both calling each other out. I mean, they just seem to like to be buddies.
Yep.
Hopefully that means better cars for everybody.
Well, whatever. Well, speaking of Twitter, Tesla Life, and everything else, let's go to Russell, who's got some big news. And for those of you who know your Simpsons episodes, you're going to love this one.
So everybody knows I like to pick on Tesla because I'm a big gas-loving meanie.
Sure, that did.
That was like, you got to wait a beat, to kind of like let that sing. So I learned today on Twitter that the Las Vegas Monorail has filed for bankruptcy. This is the monorail that goes several miles from one end of the strip to the other and cost no less than $650 million to build. Now, keep in mind, Vegas is the town that the crooked mayors laugh at and go, holy shit, we could never get away with that. So, of course, the monorail only goes to the back doors of casinos, and it's behind the strip rather than over the, you know what I mean?
And isn't it like $10 a ride or something?
No, it's actually free.
No, it's free.
And it's automated. It's actually really nice if you don't mind walking. It's
through the service entrance of the casinos.
Well, you come in through these weird, it should just go down the middle of the strip, right? But it doesn't. Why? Well, because Vegas is an incredibly corrupt town and the taxi cab lobby there is immensely powerful. Oh, wait, did I mention that the monorail goes for several miles from one end of the strip to the other, but it doesn't go to the airport, which is just like another mile away. Now, why would that happen? Oh, yeah, crooked and corrupt. I already said that. Now, why do I mention this? Well, the free automated monorail in Las Vegas just filed for bankruptcy. The $650 million monorail is going to be bought out by the Convention Visitors Bureau for $24 million. You math majors can figure out how much of a loss that is. I was an art major. I don't know, but it sounds like a lot of money.
The same group just buy something for dozens of millions of dollars?
The same group who's paying Elon Musk to build a tunnel just under a mile long that goes from underground from one part of the convention center to another. The convention center, which is pretty much a dead issue in Vegas right now.
Because of the
It wasn't when they signed the contract.
It wasn't when they signed absolutely. But guess what, right? Like all of a sudden what was it, $55-60 million?
Yeah, about 60.
All of a sudden it's not looking like such a great investment. Especially when you could pick up the monorail for $24 million, right?
You don't want the monorail.
You don't want them?
Maintenance.
Because automated vehicles suck.
No, it's supposed to be automated too.
It's just like you mentioned earlier. The monorail goes to the wrong places constantly along its route.
It is not. Yeah, it was intentionally hobbled. I'll definitely give you that. But again, it's free and it's easy. And as someone who spent no small amount of time in Vegas, it's very usable.
So what are they going to do with it? I mean, obviously at some point the maintenance is going to be like the New York system and not the New York monorail, but the New York subway, and the maintenance is going to eat them alive. So do they buy it for the real estate?
Well, there's not really real estate attached to it.
It's on pylons. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and I'm sure those are easements. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe they're buying it so they can tear it down. I mean, it makes sense for the LVCC to own that, to have that, to operate it. The question is just, and they got it for a song, right? It's the people of Las Vegas who got hosed here. The house always wins, kids.
This is true. So
I'm going to take issue with one little thing though that Russell said. He said it was free. Something? Nevadans paid $650 freaking million for that monorail. I would get on that monorail and just ride it back and forth just for spite. Do it 10 days straight. Yeah. Because you've all paid for it, and now it's being sold off to the Visitors Bureau for literal pennies on a dollar. That's Woo, you took it in the pants there. I mean, I know the house always wins in Vegas, but damn, y'all got hosed.
That's all I got.
Maybe it'll be a hyperloop when they stop running the train on it.
Ooh, that's definitely what Vegas needs is a hyperloop.
I don't know where you need to go that fast in Vegas, and the curves, from what I've seen of the map, it's got this weird dog leg at the top, so you can't turn that fast. So I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Even if you're riding the walls, like if you bank up to the wall, you can't make that turn.
To find out how bad it's going to be. I think 10 more years we're going to be having this discussion on the show about the several hundred million hyperloop that's now being sold for $5 million. Yeah.
Well, hopefully the boring tunnel works out. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'd like to go ride
it. I agree
it,
with Russell though. Like, why didn't they make it go to the airport? Because then it would have had a fighting chance of surviving.
Isn't there plans to extend the tunnel to the airport?
There's a couple of plans to extend it, but as Russell mentioned, it's the taxi lobby that's stopping these type of things. It's hobbling the efforts because they don't want to lose a bunch of fares for another competing service to be running to and from the airport.
But if you can put the taxis in the tunnel and they can take you to the airport faster than traffic, they might have an ally.
Taxis would have to pay them for that, and currently they pay nobody, so that ain't gonna happen.
But if you got a whale in the back and he's got to get to his private jet at the airport,
the whale travels in a helicopter.
The whale ain't riding in a taxi
to the casino.
Yeah, the whale ain't riding in a taxi or a monorail. Okay.
They're gonna take the Uber helicopter.
Figure out how a whale got into the back of a taxi.
Oh, it was in Vegas, so we're talking the high rollers.
Okay, because I was really thinking.
No, I meant Vegas high rollers and killing whales.
Yeah, the big spenders.
What is he smoking while he's there?
Nothing. I don't smoke or drink. But teetotaler.
It's all edibles for Casey.
I need to maintain my drug-free stance.
Yeah.
So funny chocolate.
Professionally. So until I'm no longer a professional, I can't even sample or taste or try. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to stick with Casey because he's going to be talking to us about
somebody else who is smoking dope.
Oh.
So
I can't smoke. I have asthma.
No, not you. So GM and Nikola have made a joint announcement, and I am struggling to make heads or tails of it. So, from what I understand, Nikola has awarded GM to be their primary supplier. GM will engineer the Nikola Badger. They will supply the fuel cells for the fuel cell Badgers and the Nikola 2, 1, whatever they're calling their semi this week. And then GM will also manufacture the Nikola Badger. And they won't make the fuel cells for the semi-trucks in Europe. And so GM got 11% of the company for this deal. And I'm sorry, I don't understand. But
really?
that's what we know. Yeah.
No, wait, seriously, you don't understand.
GM wants some EV cred.
Yeah, GM's going to get some EV cred. Their stock went up at this announcement. Nikola's stock went up at this announcement. It's just that... and they plan to do it in 2 years, 2022.
So...
The $2 billion equity stake.
I hope they call the truck the Honey Badger.
Like the easy way out to get some e-vehicle R&D. So basically I said, well, you did it. How about we just kind of attach ourselves to your hip? And that way now suddenly we're a green company.
But I mean, it says that GM's going to do the engineering. So this is like going to be either a stretched bolt or a truck lyric. And so I'm like, what did Nikola do?
They're going to use the same platform as the Hummer.
Yeah, the same platform as the Hummer truck. So other than the snazzy, beautiful design, what did Nikola bring to the table?
Who gives a fuck?
Okay, fair enough.
And so here you're a startup. You've got ideas. Yeah. You've sold stock, God knows how, because you SPAC'd it. And
now
you actually have to make something, or you can keep the fraud going for a while.
Alleged fraud, yes.
If you're channeling that Elon magic, maybe, but you actually have to make something at some point and sell it. So who better than one of the world's largest manufacturers of things to make stuff for you, since you can't make it yourself? What's confusing about that?
I don't understand what GM couldn't have done on their own without this. They got $2 billion of the company.
They've been studying hydrogen for 30 or it's 50 years now.
Yeah, like almost 70 years. Yeah, and I just
you can disagree with Nikola's strategy on what they want to make, but I think this alliance makes complete and total sense. In fact, it's the first legitimate thing Trevor Milton's done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be what makes it so this thing can actually happen, both electric and hydrogen. But what's it? The free customers? What does GM get out of this? I mean, they could have done all of this on their own, except for that exact design, unless they wanted to get sued for something that looks similar the way that they sued Tesla for the truck that happens, just like the Prius. There's only so many aerodynamic shapes for a sedan, only so many aerodynamic shapes for a truck.
I think your issue is with Nikola, not with GM.
GM sounds like they got a sweetheart deal. They got $2 billion in equity.
I'm gonna show you a little synergy.
Okay. I mean, it just seems they're unequally yoked here. GM gets all the benefit.
So this is your GM truck.
Okay.
Look at it. That's what they got.
Yeah, it looks the same.
All right.
Your point is what?
And this is your Nikola.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Synergistically, they have very similar designs. And it looks to me like GM basically said, we could do a lot of this development work ourselves. But you know what? We're a big, slow, lazy, turbulent company. And we can't innovate our way out of a paper bag, as we have proven that we haven't innovated anything like this. And all the time we've been sitting here and hearing that, hey, maybe we should have some e-vehicles. So instead of having to wait a little bit longer or do anything else, you're designing something that could just literally smooth right into our product lineup. And all we have to do is hand you $2 billion, and we're a big, fat, rich company. We can hand you $2 billion. We can lose $1 billion and basically just be like, oops, my bad. And because, well, honestly, we're
GM
so
got it for
big
free
in terms of supply chain and jobs and everything else that we'll get a bailout. Okay, here's $2 billion.
So GM got a free design.
They got a free design. They got a free design that looks like a GM truck. I mean, let's be honest here. That Badger is really that GM big, thick, macho style.
Yeah. I could see people going for that over the Rivian and definitely over the Cybertruck.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying in that, well, why? I mean, it's not like they're doing anything GM couldn't do. But you're right in that GM could do this.
Yeah.
Has GM done anything quite like this, though?
They say they've got the Hummer, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So basically, GM is full of bullshit. And they said, instead of having to live up to what we said, let's go with somebody who's already doing it, co-opt them, and just roll it into our product lineup.
And then roll a big bolt underneath and call it done?
Co-option is a lot easier than innovation. It really is.
So they got a $2 billion for free, and they got a free design, and so it's win-win-win for GM.
Look for them to have a monorail coming to you soon.
They already have one.
They did. Didn't they build one or two?
The Detroit People Mover goes and stops right at the GM Center.
Yeah, they built that.
So Casey, if I'm understanding your objections to this, it's that you think GM got hosed. They got a bad.
No. I think they. It looks. From an outsider, it looks like Nikola was coming in trying to scam GM, and GM's like, we could scam them first. And they got looks like GM got the better end of this stick.
GM is
the thing is, Wall Street is all excited about EV companies, right?
Yes.
Like, there's a Google Doc with all the market valuations, and like Nikola, which has sold like 0 cars has a third the valuation of General Motors,
Wow.
which has sold a gazillion cars, simply because of the Tesla effect on, people.
Choose the other half of his name. Yeah.
Yeah. They took the other half of his name. But I put a link up. I don't know if we can put it in the comments in the archive, but
Yes.
if you look at this chart, it's crazy. I mean, Tesla's worth more than every other car company in the planet,
What did we say last week, Mark? It was like the next 7 combined or something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you scroll down on this, you'll see a bar chart. Yeah, Nikola 16 billion, and GM, scroll up a second. GM is worth 45 billion. That makes no sense.
So they get to move up in place. They get to replace BMW.
Yeah.
Nikola
Nikola's worth more than Nissan, who sold 500,000 EVs.
Yeah.
they've
Since
shipped
2010.
0. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all like Wall Street games,
Okay. So this is more of a stock
that valuations are really vaporware for money geeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if they come out with the product, I mean, either one, that's going to be awesome. I mean, because more zero emissions.
You don't think they gave them $2 billion and they're going to blow this project off, do you?
No, but maybe they're going to see if they survive and they just hang on to the money.
See, I got my skeptical face comes out the minute you said that.
I got nothing.
I mean, they announced a wave runner today or yesterday. A fuel cell wave runner.
That's like an electric quad. Who would talk about stupid shit like that?
But at least I can plug electric quad in anywhere I've got lights, if they ever make it. But where am I going to fill up my hydrogen wave runner? Next to the lake.
Back out, Russell. Back away from me.
I got nothing.
Speaking of,
I would love for them to make a product.
We're going to wrap this up, actually, and we're moving on to the next topic because, frankly, I said vaporware, and that reminded me of my last story, which is there is a wireless device created by the University of Cambridge that could make clean fuel from sunlight, CO2, and water. I'm assuming unicorn farts are in there too. But technically, this is photosynthesis, and it's called, it's based on advanced photosheet technology. Converts sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into oxygen and formic acid, a storable fuel that can be either used directly or converted into hydrogen. And I still think that is more likely to appear on our streets than a Badger truck. But that's just me.
So this is an artificial leaf that makes ant venom that you burn in your car.
You burn in your car. Now, on the one hand, to me, I'm like, that's so far off. But on the other hand, and I really do recommend people, if you are ever interested in science and our use of natural science and converting that to technology, there's a great book I got years upon years ago called Biomimicry that talks about things like this. So when I saw that, immediately just jumped out at me as something like, hey, I remember talk about that going back over 10 years ago. And it's interesting to see that being applied right now because it would really make green cars. And I'm super excited because I'm very easy to please. It just takes a lot of science.
So why are we making ant venom instead of fructose?
Dude, I don't know. It's not sexy enough. I have no idea. I like
this module out in the field and it makes sugar.
Why is formic acid less desirable than sucrose?
I don't know. I'm just saying that you could.
Okay.
Use
I didn't know if you were thinking of some specific technology or you're just.
No, I was just curious what they picked.
I mean, why don't we make Vaseline?
That sounds like you would have to have a little more elements than that.
I don't know. I'm just because apparently that's what they figured out how to do.
Yeah, because sugar is carbon. I guess formic acid is also just carbon, and so you've got the carbon in the CO2, and then you've got the water, and so you get your hydrocarbons. Why don't we make oil?
Well, they said that basically the carbon dioxide converter it's a cobalt-based catalyst, which you guys would know more about battery technology on that stuff. But it's easy to make and it makes it relatively stable. So I said it's just easy to convert it chemically into different types of fuel. So I don't know if it's by nature, if it's due to the formic acid or if they could choose something else. But if you would like to learn more, that is the University of Cambridge, and you can look up more in the Nature Energy Journal. So
you know what else you can make with it? Methane for the Musk rocket.
Are we strapping Elon Musk to the rocket? No, we're not.
He wants to die on Mars.
Just not on impact.
Not on impact.
I mean, I'm down with the Elon Musk rocket. I approve of rockets for billionaires. Let's ship them off somewhere.
It seems they all have one.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if we put billionaires
One-way tickets.
That's one-way ticket. I support every billionaire that would like to get into a rocket ship and blow the hell off somewhere else. I support you. Good job. Go.
I'll support Georgia on that.
As long as I have full autonomy and not just living off the company store. I'm a non-billionaire.
So I think that's it. Did we cover all the news, Georgia?
We covered every daggone story.
I love that. I love that about us when we cover everything. Anybody have a one more thing?
Welcome to Canada.
We're all moving to Canada.
Where my passport?
We're all showing up at Mark's doorstep.
It is now.
Mark is the one that has the one more thing.
For those of you keeping track, it is now dark in Boulder.
Yep.
Because I can see the window behind Paul. It was, there we go. It is now dark. And I sat across from where Paul is sitting just not that long ago. Well, that's great. Thank you so much. Let's do some shout outs and go home. Can I start with Casey Green?
I've got a video I've been working. It's an hour long, hour and a half. I'm cutting it down. I might break it out into a couple different videos. It's an adventure. It's an epic, yes. It definitely won't be an hour and a half, so come watch it. And I just put up a 32 second video of how to reprogram your Tesla key. Not in the way of like, hey, I bought a new key. Let's update it. Let's add it to the car. No, this is for the Model S that have the keys susceptible to snooping of the code wirelessly. Tesla has a firmware update that you apply inside the car to make your key more cryptographically secure so that nobody can, steal your car. You should probably still set pen to drive afterwards. And this whole explanation took longer than the video. So you'll find that at youtube.com/Casey Green. And I show you exactly what to do with the key. And then the epic will be coming out shortly, either as an epic, but much shorter, or as a series of videos. That's KACEYGREEN. Thank you.
I was just about to say it. Thank you, Casey. Paul, it's as though you have a business to plug.
Well, actually, no.
No?
I do that every week. I want to plug this guy, Brand Dude, who did this wonderful Google sheet on automaker evaluations. It's a great spreadsheet. It also has pictures in scale of the Tesla factories around the world. I don't know, it's pretty cool. And it updates every day based on real-time stock values and shows you, how much more Tesla is worth than Honda or GM or Ford, pretty much everybody. So I think it's a pretty cool worksheet. So everybody should tune it in. Check it out.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
Hey,
well, thanks for that. We'll put that link in the show notes. Absolutely. Mr. Coughlin.
I would like to ask you who are watching this show, if you have not already, what are you waiting for? Give us a subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It helps us out. It costs you nothing, and we would appreciate it. So please do that now. We'll wait. We'll just wait. Okay, that should be enough time. So we thank you for that, and we will see you next week.
And of course, follow Mark at The Tesla Life on Twitter for updates on Tesla news, and of course, watch his show. Search The Tesla Life on Twitter or on YouTube, and you'll find it. I'm going to stop speaking because I'm not speaking really well right now, and I'm going to turn it over to my lovely and talented co-host, Georgia.
Hey, everybody. So thank you for joining us. Please do not forget to pay attention to Mark on the Tesla Life and hang out with Casey at his YouTube channel. And subscribe to us because we rock. You know you love us. Just go on ahead, subscribe, follow us. And while you're at it, kick in a couple of bucks for that computer we need to keep running the show. That'd be good. All right. And I'm going to have one shout out that if you are able to work the polls this fall for election day, I would love it to join me. I'm going to go do it and work from 6:30 till 10 to run a poll for the election. Especially, this is very critical if you are in our purple or red areas, because a lot of times you are the one person who will be able to help people vote. You will be the one learning what to enforce and making sure everybody's votes count. You will be a critical linchpin in democracy. So I cannot help but encourage you to go to powerthepolls.org, because your votes are critical for things like, I don't know, a sustainable electrical grid, more solar, better cars, faster development of public
Clean air.
transportation. That's clean air. Not having, again, North Mordor, South Mordor. So, what is it, Colorado? Colorado's kind of like East Mordor right now. So your vote counts, and if you are able to vote early, drop off your ballot, please read your instructions for your mail-in or absentee ballot, because instructions are very critical to have those ballots counted and find out exactly where you can drop those ballots off, work the polls, and help people vote in person. And I'm going to toss it back to Russell. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Speaking of voting, though,
Yes,
don't forget to
Russell.
check and make sure
Be
your
smart.
stuff is still current. They've been taking people out.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. All important. We're extra vigilant this election cycle. I want to give one final shout out to Paul Guzik for selling me a totally cool car. And if you're anywhere near Paul, you should go buy a car from him. BoulderH.com is where you can see what he's offering. And, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, which is why I went to Paul, because he's way smarter than I am. And I knew he'd take good care of me. So do that. It's BoulderH.com. And pick up something from somebody you can trust. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. What?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Where do Canadians vote?
In Canada.
Oh, so we don't get to vote in this one.
In a canoe.
You should tell us.
I would be
Pray we vote like sensible people for once.
Yeah. Well, wait a second. There's a guy named Ford in charge of some province there, so they're not that sensible.
Yeah, but they only have one guy in one province. We did.
I love my friends north of the border, but they make mistakes just like we do. We can argue about
They
that.
just don't make them as big.
Yeah. So do vote, and even if you're in Canada, vote, but vote for somebody Canadian, because it's not really going to do any good to vote for here. I mean,
Stop that.
I'm sure they're going to be throwing away as many American ballots.
Hey, Mark, I got a plan. Why doesn't Canada buy Puerto Rico, fix it up, and then use it in the winter to go on vacation down there?
we are all open to a tropical paradise if we could pick it up as territory. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe you can get it for cents on the dollar, like the Vegas monorail.
24 million. Yeah.
And we are going to not mock.
So, this would be like laughably hilarious if the chief executive of this country wasn't thinking about buying fucking Greenland.
He's more concerned about buying Greenland than he is about fixing our own Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So,
well, because Puerto Ricans are Spanish.
Unfortunately, it appears to be the case.
Clear, that sounds ridiculous, but it ain't that far from reality. I do like that idea, like South Canada.
Yeah.
Like Caribbean.
Detroit's already south of Canada.
Yeah.
Or north of Canada, sorry.
Florida. That's why there's Canadians all over Florida.
Aye.
All
All over
the
the
Ontario
place.
All the
those
Ontario
people with
plates.
Ontario plates. Yeah, it's insane.
It's like the New Jersey of Canada. You see Jersey plates everywhere. You see Ontario plates everywhere.
It's crazy. So go to Boulder H and look and see if Paul has a hybrid or an electric vehicle that you want, because you know you can trust him. As always, thanks Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Do go to youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Do hit that subscribe button. That is hugely important, and we appreciate all of the support. We're up over 1,800 subscribers, and that's wonderful. Now, am I a little upset that there are 12-year-olds doing makeup tutorials that have 3 million subscribers? Honestly, yeah, I'm a little upset about it, just about that much. But
well, Russell, have you tried doing a makeup tutorial for once on What Drives Us?
You might get some views.
Georgia, let's talk after the show, because I'm going to do that, okay? If putting on makeup will get us to 1 million subscribers, I will do that tomorrow, okay? And
I want to see some good eyeliner techniques from you.
Right? Absolutely. So we appreciate that support. It is hugely important and very helpful, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So please do go to youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Hit that subscribe button, and also do us a favor, suggest it to your friends. Share that page on your Facebook or Twitter. Tell people that that we're a show we're supporting, because we do appreciate that. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Casey Green, Mark Coughlin, and my brand new co-host, Georgia McKenzie. Yay! And by the way, thanks for killing Tony Schaefer. No.
Yeah.
Tony
He's just locked up in the basement. I mean, I haven't seen him.
He's not dead yet? I thought you were going to take care of that. Ay.
What have I told you?
He's just watching hockey playoffs or something.
Tony's visiting family, and he's taking this week off, but there we go. We just, so Georgia, wonderful job. Thank you so much for stepping up and propping my lifeless corpse up. I appreciate that so much. And of course, as always, thanks to all of you who watch or listen. We do the show for you. We appreciate it. Tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Weekend at Russell's.
See you, everybody. Have a good week. Stay safe, especially if you're in NorCal. Stay safe in Oregon and Washington. Oh, man, it's horrible.